Hi, my name is Celeste Carnegie. I'm a Birrigubba Juru South Sea Islander woman from the Birrigubba, and I work for Indigitek as the Manager of Community Programs and Engagement.
Hi everyone, my name is Tessa Carnegie. I'm a Birrigubba Juru South Sea Islander woman. We hail from the Birrigubba. I work for the CSIRO as part of the Young Indigenous Women STEM Academy as the Academic Coordinator in Western Sydney.
No, not at all. We were both very sporty, and I was a netball player as well, so that was always the career choice. But no, technology was not an option, and I didn't think that it was ever an option either.
I really liked social sciences, so social studies. I really liked the study of people more than things. But my favourite subject was probably English. I really liked English.
My favourite subject was like ancient history. I like learning about history and what people used to do and how they used to do it. But also PE. We went to a sports excellence school, so sports was really a
driving force.
Yeah, behind the curriculum. Well, I guess, COVID has kind of changed what I do in my job, but, my job is mostly around community engagement, so how we get our community involved in technology and how we engage them with emerging and, existing technologies to help benefit their own communities. And so, during my day now, it's a lot of communicating with stakeholders and I guess that program development and really working out the best way to facilitate those types of learnings.
And I work for the Young Indigenous Women STEM Academy, so a big part of my role is working with Indigenous women both across all age groups, and a big part of that is just engaging and having those conversations around STEM and how that can look like in our communities, but specifically for First Nations women. So that's what I do. That's a typical day for me, is just having those yarns and having those conversations and being around different types of people too, like scientists and technologists. So it's always very interesting. And then I get to see my sister too, because we're working from home. So that's
And then it's not.
And then it's not. And then we fight.
Yeah. Definitely. We always say, technology is just the tool, it's not the outcome, and technology is just the thing that we're using to engage, but really our skill set and our strengths, I feel, for the two of us in whatever job we have, is engagement. And it is a skill set, and it's really important when you're working with community, when you're working with
it's a big part of STEM as well. Yeah. In order to be able to research and to perform these inquiries, you need to be able to engage with people, because that's where people who are connected to land and country. Because a lot of the science happens on land and country. So.
I went to university and I was doing a pilot degree, which didn't really work out, and so I did like the first 2 years, and then I dropped out of university because it just wasn't my thing. I wasn't enjoying it, and if anything, it was really making me resent learning, I guess, if I can be honest. But from there, I guess I just found it was easier for me to learn by doing, and so I just ran with it. Yeah. So I used to work in a job that saw me connecting in traditional Indigenous land management systems with agricultural robotics, and that was really fun. I've also worked in, training communities in remote and rural regional areas to use digital technologies, like drones, robotics and coding and 3D printing, and that was pretty cool too. And I've also, gone out to multiple communities across Australia to get our young people involved in school and education through sport.
I started as a childcare assistant, and then I went into the ATO, so I worked at the taxation office. And then from there, across multiple roles, and then I moved out to the Northern Territory, where I lived in Katherine, and there I worked as part of local governments, and then I went into mental health care. And then I got this job at CSIRO, which is working as an academic coordinator, which is different again, working around education and trying to see more young Indigenous women in STEM. But yeah, that's my journey. It's very different to Celeste.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the great thing about STEM and the pathways into STEM is that it can look different from person to person, and the roles are varying across the industry.
Yeah, and you don't have to, and that's the misconception when it comes to technology or comes to these STEM careers, is that you don't have to be a coder or developer or an engineer to be a part of this space. You know, you can be a project manager, you can be you can work in the marketing teams. Like, there's so many different roles within these spaces that allow you to work in it and be a part of it, and I think that's a misconception, and that's why it becomes intimidating for some people and they don't feel like they can do it. But there's so many different roles. I mean, I'm not a coder or a developer, but you know, I'm very heavily involved in the tech space, and you know, I talk with big tech companies every day. So it's interesting how a job that I never thought was plausible is now something that I'm actually working in and living out and being able to do every day. Like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I think the perspectives are different. I think a lot of the people that we see in STEM are, what's the saying?
Male, pale and stale.
Yeah.
So it's male, pale and stale.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're the complete opposite of that.
And I find that, like, when you have different perspectives in these roles as scientists and researchers, it allows for like a different way of communication, both verbally and non-verbally.
Yeah.
And it also means that it's like representation. If we see more people that look like us in these positions, they were more likely to want to be involved, and we're not going to be ashamed.
No, and it also comes back to, as well, the products and software and the apps that we use, none of it was built with us in mind. None of it was built by us, so it's not going to be for us. Mm-hmm. And you know, you look at artificial intelligence right now, it's very important that you have different perspectives, building that type of learnings out and those types of algorithms, because we're not seen in the algorithms, and that is actually detrimental to us. It's dangerous. So
it's ethics as well, ethics and morals, and that's always a big part of culture, and from culture to culture. And so when you can bring your own unique perspective into these areas, you're going to get a different product.
The best projects I've ever had is when I'm doing creative projects with my family, because our vision is always shared, and it's really great to work with people that you just click with, and when you're family, you can vibe like that. But I guess the best experiences I've had is working in remote communities and going out and seeing and learning about and chilling with all these different people. Who are all beautiful people and who all have such amazing knowledge about the land they come from and where they live and where they grew up, and they know how to get water out of a dry riverbed, they know how to get food out of the ground, and there's things that I would never know, I could never do, and yet there are these little kids teaching me how to go get guana, and it's been some of the most amazing experiences out there. Yeah.
And I guess it's always like being comfortable with the uncomfortable, and I find that when I am uncomfortable and I'm learning more, that's when I have my best experiences at work.
Yes. Yeah.